Now, why does he say that? I'm so alive. I'm so alive. Because when you think about it, he was alive before he drove. So why is it that Richard Hammond, that's his name, Richard Hammond, only feels so alive after he's driven 450 kilometres an hour? Look, my guess is it's because most of the time, what he feels is actually pretty dead. Because when you ask most people, for most of the time, what we feel is meh. Just humdrum. Life's just kind of routine. And so we're always looking for that thing that's going to make us feel alive. And we mightn't actually use that word, but I think it's probably at the heart of what we mean by that word happy. We want this sense that life's rich, that life's meaningful, that life's fun. We want to feel alive. And look, everyone looks for it in different places. For some people, they look for it in work, leaving their mark, that sense of achievement. Other people look for it in play. You know those guys, they live for mountain biking or surfing or rock climbing, that hit of adrenaline, or sex. If I can get a woman to sleep with me, I'm more alive. Or intimacy, that's sharing something meaningful, or it could be shopping. Whatever it is, we use these things to add this dimension to life that most of the time is just plain missing. Now, of course, the sad thing is, it never lasts, does it? That's why Richard Hammond had to drive again. And you may actually know what happened next. He flipped the car and ended up using his helmet as a brake. And one of his co-stars, Jeremy Clarkson, said, "Why'd you do it? You'd already broken the British land speed record. Why did you go again?" And couldn't explain it. He just had to do it. I think he needed that next hit. And you know, the Bible explains why we have this longing and also why it never lasts. You can see up on the screen, I'm hoping, the beginning of the biography of Jesus that's called John. And it says, "In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of men." Now, just that last sentence is the key, because it explains so much of what we feel and what we want, and also why we can't get it. In Jesus was life, and that life was the light of men. Now, I think John's saying two big things. Firstly, I think he's saying Jesus is God. That is, sentence 1 up there, Jesus was there in the beginning. That's why life's in him. He's not just another guru. Jesus is the eternal God. Life is in him. And so the second thing is, that I think John's saying is, that means he is the one who gives us life. So John says, through Jesus, all things were made. Nothing was made without him. That is, our hearts beat because of Jesus. Our blood flows because of Jesus. He gave you life. And yet there's something more there, isn't there? John says this tantalizing phrase, that Jesus is the light of men. See it in sentence 4 there? Or people. I think what he means is, Jesus is the spark. Jesus is that light that just makes life good. And it makes it meaningful and rich and happy. Knowing Jesus is the source of real, deep happiness because he's the one who made us. That is, Jesus designed us so that we would relate to him. See, we're right. There is more to life than just stuffing food into your mouth and it going down the toilet 16 hours later. We're right when we want things like meaning and happiness and fulfillment. What's wrong is actually where we look for it. As we think work will really fulfill us, or that intimate relationship or adrenaline or sex. And Jesus says, look, those things aren't real life. It's not that they're bad. Work, play, relationships, they're all fantastic things. Sex is great. It's just that we want them to do something that they're never designed to do, something they can't do. We want those things to give us happiness. We want those things to give us meaning and purpose, but they can't. All they ever do is just give us this short kick, this little taste of life, and then we go back to feeling meh, feeling lifeless. No, real life, happiness, meaning and purpose, those things come from Jesus who made you. Jesus is the one who made us, and living with him in our life actually generates that deep sense of meaning and happiness. It's actually why Jesus died. As Jesus died to give us this eternally rich life with God. So the way the Bible explains it is that in our search for life, for meaning and happiness, we haven't just forgotten God, we've actively rejected him. We've deliberately, willfully said we don't want life with God, which is a terrible thing to do when you think about it. We've mistreated God. But what's almost as bad is we've actually cut ourselves off from the one who gives us life. That's why life seems so meaningless so much of the time. But God sent Jesus to give us life back. Jesus died on the cross so that we'll be able to live with him eternally. He paid for the rejection of God and really everything we've ever done wrong. And so starting today, I want to say to you, the Bible, God, Jesus, is offering you real life with a God who made you and who loves you. And not just life, real life and happiness now, a life that stretches into eternity, which is what we were made for, heaven itself. Speaking personally, I didn't grow up as a Christian. I became a Christian in year 12, but I can honestly tell you, my life is better. It's so much better with God in it and with Jesus in it. And I'm so much happier. Because Jesus is the one who gave me life in the first place, and he's meant to be in it. And he's also the one who died for me so that I can live with him eternally. Now, I think that's where real happiness lies.